Hello, crafting friends. I'm Doreen DeCebus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. So happy that you're joining me tonight, whether you're joining me on the live, on the replay, or on my YouTube channel. Welcome, and thank you for being part of my followers. All right, so tonight I am going to make a great fun fold. But before I begin, I want to talk to you about a new online exclusive suite that I am going to be using tonight. I'm only going to be using parts of it, but this is a pretty cool suite. So it's called the Thankful Garden Suite, and it has here the Thankful Garden Hybrid Bundle. This is a really fun bundle where it has the stamps. They're photopolymer stamps. There are 13 of them, and they have these two really large flowers as their focal points. Then there are a set of dies that go with those stamps and a set of stencils for you to color them in. I will be showing how to use these in this month's technique Tuesday, at the last Tuesday of the month. So be ready for that because that's going to be exciting. Tonight we're not going to need the stamps, so I'm going to put those aside. We are also, with this suite comes the Starburst sequins, and we've got the crushed curry. We've got some of the, let's see what the colors are again in the paper. We have the basic black, blueberry bushel, crushed curry, garden green, fresh freesia, and melon mambo. And so these are the melon mambo, and you've got some white, so they're a cool embellishment to use. We also have this really pretty, let's see if I can get a piece out without opening the whole package. This is our fresh freesia faux velvet ribbon, and it's, I think, bigger than an eighth of, well, maybe it's an eighth of an inch. It's really pretty. Let me hold it up a little closer so you can see that. But you've got this soft, like velvet feel to it. It's just really pretty. Ties really well. So it is a must if you're going to use it with the Fresh Freesia cardstock. So let me put that aside. We're not going to use that tonight either. But we are going to be using the Designer Series paper. And this is called Lovely Garden Designer Series paper. I've pulled one of each sheet out so you can see, like the stamp set. It is really big and bold images. And on many of the Designer Series paper, on the back side, there's a black and white design. So we've got some stripes here, and we've got the big bold flowers here. I love this sheet. It's one of my favorite. I have several favorite sheets in this. This is Fresh Freesia Flowers. Hi, Bonnie. Thanks for joining tonight. And black dots on a white background. I used this Sunday, last Sunday, in Simply Stamping Sunday, but I just love this petite pattern of flowers, and then on the back are black and white leaves. I'm using the next three pieces I am using tonight. I'm going with garden green for my focus tonight, and crushed curry is found in these flowers. So I'm using crushed curry as my accent pattern. So we have this piece that just has, again, very delicate flowers. And on the back side, we have a black piece of Designer Series paper with white stripes. I like it when the Designer Series paper is just starkly different on each side because you can use it for so many different things. So then here is a piece of garden green, and we have all these flower images and leaf images on it. And the back side is Fresh Freesia with a very tiny floral pattern. So I'm not sure on the camera you'll be able to make that out. Then I am also using this piece of garden green. It's just a check pattern. Hi Suzette, thanks for joining tonight. So I'm using this check pattern, and then on the other side it has some bold flowers again, but not as big as the first page I showed you. And for this here, I cut out some of these flowers for us to use tonight. Now, for the card we're making, I thought it was time we made an Easter card. My friend, and Joyce is on here often, so she might be on tonight, not sure. She was going to join us, but earlier this week she sent me an email showing me an example of this type of card and wanted some help making it. So I had never seen one before, so that sent me on my challenge to find out how to make it, and I did. And I really love this technique. So this, I wanted to show you, fits in a regular. Okay, hi Joyce, you're here. Glad you made it. So here is a cross card. So I'm showing it to you kind of flat. It's meant to stand up, but here it is open. We're not going to do any stamping tonight. So I'm going to use the designer series paper, and I'm going to show you how I made that greeting. When it stands like this. Let me just open it back up. So it's going to stand like this. The cross is going across the front. And then we're using the designer series paper to fill in the extra parts of the card. So a really fun card. So I'm going to show you how to score it, how to cut it, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to decorate it. So that is our card for tonight. So what do you need? You are going to need a lot of small pieces of stuff. So, hi Lisa, thanks for joining. I agree, Bonnie. Once I started looking, everyone has been making these. So, I was trying to find, I didn't want to copy anyone, so I designed it my own way, but I'm using what everyone else is using. So first of all, I'm going to need a piece of 5.5 by 8.5. I'm using thick basic white cardstock, but this card, as you saw, has a lot of layers, and when you fold it up, it is quite thick, so it probably needs extra postage. So I think you could probably get away with using just basic white cardstock, which is at a lower slightly less weight to it. But I'm using my basic white thick for now. And I have here just a scrap of a piece of crushed curry cardstock, and it measures 3/8 of an inch wide. I have 2 pieces of crushed curry that measure 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches. This is for all the cardstock, for all the designer series paper we're using. I have 2 pieces here that measure 1 1/4 by 2 5/8. These 2 pieces are going to make the cross, so I only need 1 of each. One of them, the shorter one, measures 1 1/4 by 4 inches, and the longer one measures 1 1/4 inch by 5 3/8 inches. And then for the designer series paper, for the bigger piece, I'm going to need 3 of these, and this measures 2 inches by 5 3/8 inches. Again, I will post all of the measurements in Lydia. I'm so excited you're here. Lydia Daigle is my cousin. Oh, awesome, Lydia. So you're going to be mounting all of the designer series paper onto the crushed curry. So now all of these are just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So I have 2 of these that measure 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. 2 of these that measure 1 1/8 by 2 1/2. Then we have the pieces for the cross, and it measures the shorter one measures 1 1/8 by 3 7/8, and the larger one measures 1 1/8 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I have 3 of these to match those 3 pieces of crushed curry, and they measure 1 7/8 inch by 5 1/4 inches. So that is what we're going to need. I said we weren't doing any stamping tonight because I did not have a sentiment that I wanted to use. I wanted He Is Risen. And we do have a stamp set that has this as a sentiment, but I don't own it. And there was no way I could get it for tonight. So I went into my computer, I went to Google Docs and opened up a doc, and I played with the size and the font. I printed a page out on basic white cardstock, and then I used the dies from the, let me see, what set? The, what is it called? Oops. I should have brought it out. I used the dies for the, I think it's Iconic Images, and I just cut this out. So I didn't do any stamping. I could just cut out all of them and put on the front of the card. Okay, now let's start with the scoring, because there's a lot of scoring and cutting that we're going to do. So I'm going to get out my score tool, and I'm going to start on the 8 1/2 inch side to do my scoring. And I already got out my scorer. So now I am going to be scoring. Oh, I need to do something first. This card, in order to have everything be even, I need to cut 1/8 inch off. So that is the first thing I'm going to do, is just cut 1/8 inch off. Okay, that is done. All right, now I can do my scoring. So I am going to start at 2 1/8 inches. So here we are, 2 1/8, and then I'm going to score at 3 1/2, and then I'm going to score at 4 7/8, and then I'm going to score at 6 1/4. I will repeat those, but remember, I am going to put this all in the comments after the video, after I'm done demonstrating this. So again, we have 2 1/8 here, 3 1/2 here, 4 7/8 here, and 6 1/4 here. Then I'm going to turn it on the 5 1/2 edge, and I am going to score it at 1 3/8. So 1, 2, 3, and that's all the scoring I have to do. Thank you, Lydia. I love making Christmas cards, so I'm glad you enjoyed yours. Now I've got to do some cutting. So this is probably the most difficult part of the project, but you're going to find that we're going to use all of these score lines to help us with the cutting. So we have to cut so that the cross is going to stand, be able to stand up and stand out. So I am going to be starting on this 5 1/2 side, and I am going to be cutting. Okay, let me find my notes for this. I moved my notes. Let me grab them so that I can, maybe they're under this piece of paper. Don't you hate it when you do that? My husband was bothering me, and I just started moving things. Here they are. Okay, so you are going to start on this side, and you are going to put this in at 2 1/8 inch. So I'm going to go right to the 2 1/8 inch. And I am going to, let me just see, cut her 2 1/8. I just want to make sure this is right. Let me look at my card. I'm sorry about that. And just measure this down. I'm going in on the, okay, I see. So I'm going to be right at the 1 3/8 mark. Sorry about that. I'm going to be right on this score mark. And I am going to go down to 2 1/8. So remember, I've got these measurements right on the side of my cutter here. And hi, Barbara. And I put a piece of sticky strip right along the back so that it's white and I can see it really easy. So I'm going to go to 2 1/8. Now, the lucky part is I've got a score mark right here that I can use as my guide. And I am going to cut this all the way down to the 3.5 inch, which is the next score line. And so I can stop right there. Then I'm going to pick my blade up and I'm going to go down to my 4 7/8 mark. And again, remember I said it's right along the score lines that we just made. So this makes it very easy to cut. So I'm going to be at 4 7/8 and I'm going to go right down to my 6 1/4 inch mark. Then I am going to let's see, move to 2 3/4, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to move this to the 2 1/8 mark, again, right where that score line is, and I'm going to cut to my 3.5 inch mark. I'm going to pick that blade up, and I'm going to bring it down to the 4 7/8 score line, and I'm going to cut all the way down to 6 1/4. Okay, I'm going to now turn this to my 8 3/8 side now, and I am going to now be making this cut. So I'm going to put it right on this score line because now I need to cut so the cross side is going to come out. And I am going to move to my 1 3/8 score line, and I'm going to cut down to that mark again so that this is going to, oops, I have a little piece. Let me just use my paper snips to cut that part that I didn't get. So I'm going to just come in and make that little tiny cut, and you can see that that now opens up. So now I'm going to go to this score line, the last one over, and again I'm going to go to these 2 marks, and I am going to cut between the score lines again. And now it just didn't go up, like just a little tiny bit. Okay, so now I'm ready to do some folding. We are not going to fold that top score line. So this part here will not be folded. So what I'm going to do is fold in here. I'm going to use my bone folder and give it a really nice crease. I am going to then fold this way with the other piece. So it's going to sit like this. So I'm going to go to the other side now, and I am going to fold this piece in. Again, give it a really nice crease, and then I'm going to fold this one in the opposite direction and give it a really nice crease going down. And now you can see that cross clearly coming across the front of the card. And now all we have to do is decorate. These are very easy once we're done to decorate. So here we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting all of these pieces of designer series paper onto the cardstock, the crushed curry cardstock. You could do these crosses in any color combination you want. One I was checking out yesterday was beautiful. It was done with the Delightful Wishes stamp set and that beautiful designer series paper. Bye, Bonnie. Have a good weekend. And I'm doing it with this. There's just so many designer series paper. I think the perennial lavender would be beautiful on with this card. I can just see that being gorgeous. Maybe that will be the next one I make. All right, we'll get the 3 larger pieces done first. I hope everyone's having a beautiful start to almost spring. In New Hampshire, it's like fake spring. But we are, I have to say, it was beautiful today. I was really happy when I got out of work and it was sunny and warm. Just love that. So now these pieces are going to make our cross. And this one's for the longer piece. So I'm glad Joyce asked me how to make this card because I hadn't designed my Easter cards yet. But now I know what I'm doing. Okay, we just have the smaller pieces. All right, there we go with that. And now we're going to put our tiniest pieces on. And then we're just ready to start decorating the card and putting all the pieces on. All right, so there we go. And then for our greeting, our sentiment, I'm actually just going to, you've seen me do this lots of times before, when I just take a sentiment and just take a piece of colored cardstock and put on it. For this one, the cardstock just fits perfectly behind this particular die. So I'm just going to trim off the edges. There we go. Okay, and that is ready to go. So now we're going to take our card, and I'm going to start with the outer panels first. I'm just going to flatten this out so I can fit it right on to the basic white cardstock. There we go. And then this one is going to go on the other side. The nice thing about covering these panels up is that that extra score line that we used gets covered up as well. Okay, there are those panels. Now we're going to take these pieces. So this piece is going to go down at the bottom under the cross. And then the little one is going to go on top. Lisa, it was going to be discontinued. That was the first announcement we had at the beginning of the week. So Lisa's question, if you can't see it, is that she's heard that the basic white cardstock is going to be discontinued in the 8.5 by 11 size. And that definitely was Stampin' Up's position on that. But after they announced it, I guess demonstrators put up quite an uproar over it. And they didn't realize how much we use it or like using it. So they have decided to keep it. But like people have already announced this week, cardstock prices are going to be going up. And this thick basic white is no exception. So it's still going to be in the 24 pack, but it is going to be $17. And it's going to only be in the online store, not in the catalog. And they were out of it last week when they made the announcements about cardstock. I tried to order some and they were out, but today I had heard a rumor that it was back in, and it was. So I ordered some at the $11.50 cost. It is going up to $17. So I would check the online store. And if you need help ordering some, I'd be happy to help you. But that is going to be, but they are also, I believe, going to have it in 12 by 12 too. So here's just the basic card with the designer series paper on it. I'm going to turn it over because your first thought might be is, oh my goodness, how do you write your message? You do have the back. I like a finished card, so this extra one is going to go on one side on the back. I don't like leaving this type of card all without being something happening on the back. So I'm going to put this on the back, and then I am going to take a piece of this paper. It's a little long. I'm going to cut it off, but I wanted to make sure I got some of the flowers. And I am going to just add this to the back where I'm going to be doing my writing. And I'm going to put this on just a little bit up like I like to do. And then I'm going to use my paper snips and I'm just going to trim that off. So now I have all of this space on the back to do some writing. And I have some paper over here to just continue that look of the card. Okay, so here's what I'm going to have to ask you as we look at this. I used the Melon Mamba flowers on this card, and I wasn't sure I really liked it, but I've cut some out, so I have those. I'm going to give you a minute to tell me in the chat, but I've also cut some of these flowers that match the designer series paper that I could make a nice little bouquet of as well. Just give you an idea what it might look like. Maybe I would pop some up like I did on this card. Like I said, I have a whole bunch. I have little ones I can put in. So I would design this a little better. So tell me in the chat if you want the white flowers or if you want the pink flowers. So I've got one vote for the matching ones. So I'm going to give everyone else a chance to tell me their thoughts. Oh, Lisa wants the matching ones, so that's 2. Anyone else want to put in their 2 cents? Okay, I think I'm going to go with the matching ones. That was my initial thought. So let me just look at what I have here. I'm going to put this one out of the way. I think the pink are pretty, but I don't know. There was just something about it that was bothering me because there was no pink on the front of the card. And so I didn't feel it really was matching as well. So I have cut out like a ton of different things. Some of them are the same. Some of them are a little different. I've got little flowers to fill in. So what I think I can start with this over these two that are the same. I'm such a, let's have some good lines of symmetry here. And I think I might want this one kind of up in the middle. So I think I will put a nice spray right here. This one will be popped up, but let's see, how do I want it? Will be like that. And then afterwards, I'm going to put some of the smaller ones in. So let's see how this goes. So I'm going to start by, this one's going to be the one that's going to be popped up. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And set that aside. These are going to get just regular adhesive. So I'll have this one facing to the left, and I'll have this one facing to the right. I think I want to make sure the leaves, since they're not going to have any extra support under them, I want to make sure the leaves are not hanging over the side of the cross, but either the top or the bottom of the cross. So I might put those a little more like that, and I'll add a flower at the bottom. This I'm going to add to the top right here. This is going to be like this. So I am going to take some of these smaller flowers, and let's go with some dimensionals on the back of them as I add them, just to give them some layer. I'll put them down afterwards once I know it's how I want them. And there we go. And we'll take the lower ones to put, I might just put these flat. So I'll have one of them here. Let me move this again. So I'm just going to start adding them. So this one I'm going to put with just adhesive. And I'll have that right like that. This one will go on the other side with adhesive. And then these two, let's put this one on. Like I said, we're going to go low with this one. This one will go up here. And this one will go right here. So that's what it's looking like right now. Looking pretty good. I like it. I like the matching flowers. Now I need to decide, I'm going to put this on dimensionals as well. We're almost done. We'll add a little bling at the end. And I am going to put this on the top part of the cross for this one. I don't want to color up all those beautiful flowers. So here is what the card looks before we put any bling on. I'm loving it. And for bling today, I'm going to use the antique pearls. Love these. They're so pretty. And I'm going to start with the medium size, and I'm going to add these to both ends of the sentiment. And then I am going to start grabbing some small ones. We'll put 2 of them side by side up here, and then we'll put 1 down here. And this is our finished card. So it will stand again in that cross. When I fold it, I'm going to fold one side in and then the other side over. So that's how it will go into the envelope. That's what it will look like on the back. And then when your recipient opens it, that's what they will see. Love it. It is so pretty. So we have this one that we did with the same type of flowers, and then we have this one here with the pink flowers. So we've got 2 choices there for you tonight. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this fun fold. I hope it inspires you for Easter to create something special for your family and friends. I will be back Sunday night at 7 o'clock for Simply Stamping Sunday. It's going to be week 3 of the beautiful butterflies, so you don't want to miss that. And of course, I will be back next Friday night for another edition of Fun Fold Friday. You won't want to miss it. I always have something special to share with you. So have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks again for joining, and I will see you soon. Good night.